I woke up in a hospital room with my wife Diane holding my hand and crying. "Thank God," she said when she saw my eyes open. "You're awake. The doctor said you might not make it." My throat was raw. "What happened?" "You collapsed at work. They rushed you here. Your heart stopped twice in the ambulance. They said it was a massive heart attack." I tried to sit up. Everything hurt. "Don't move," Diane said. "You just had emergency surgery. Triple bypass. The doctor said it was touch and go for a while." I lay back. Tried to process. I was 48 years old. Ate healthy. Exercised regularly. A heart attack? How long have I been here? 3 days. You've been unconscious since the surgery. Michael, I was so scared. She squeezed my hand and I squeezed back weakly. Over the next week, doctors ran tests. Explained that I'd had a genetic condition no one knew about. A time bomb in my cardiovascular system that had finally exploded. "You're lucky to be alive," Dr. Patterson said. "Most people don't survive what you went through." "What's the prognosis?" "With medication, lifestyle changes, and careful monitoring, you should be fine. But this was a serious event. You need to take it seriously." Diane was there every day, bringing me food from home, reading to me, keeping me company. She seemed genuinely worried, genuinely caring. On my 8th day in the hospital, late at night, Diane fell asleep in the chair next to my bed. Her phone buzzed on the table. Once, twice, 3 times. I shouldn't have looked, but I was bored and awake, and it was right there. The screen lit up with messages. "Is he still alive? When are you coming over? I miss you. This waiting is killing me." All from someone named James. I felt cold. Picked up her phone. It wasn't locked. Opened the messages. Hundreds of them. Going back months. "I can't wait until we can be together. Once he's gone, we'll have everything. The life insurance alone is $2 million. Plus his business, the house, everything. I know, baby. Just a little longer." I scrolled further back. My hands were shaking. "Do you think he suspects?" "No, he's clueless. Works all the time. Barely pays attention to me." "Good. Keep playing the devoted wife. We're so close." I kept scrolling. Found messages from 2 weeks ago, right before my heart attack. "I can't do this anymore. I want to be with you now. Soon. The doctor said his stress levels are dangerous. All that work pressure. Something's going to give. What if it doesn't? Then we help it along. More stress. Less medication reminders. Whatever it takes." I stared at the phone. Read it again. And again. My wife had been having an affair. Was waiting for me to die. Possibly contributing to my heart attack by helping it along. I looked at her sleeping in the chair. She looked peaceful. Innocent. I took screenshots of everything. Every message. Sent them to my own email. Deleted the sent messages from her phone. Put it back exactly where it was. Then I laid there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, feeling my surgically repaired heart beating in my chest. The heart that my wife had been hoping would stop. The next morning, Dr. Patterson came in for rounds. "Michael, you're recovering well. We should be able to discharge you in a few days." Diane smiled. "That's wonderful news." "It is," I said. "Doctor, can I speak to you privately for a moment?" Diane looked surprised. "I can step out." "No, that's okay." "Doctor, would you mind if we talked in the hallway?" We stepped outside my room. "Is everything okay?" Dr. Patterson asked. "I need you to tell my wife that my prognosis is worse than it actually is." "I'm sorry. I need you to tell her that I'm not recovering as well as expected, that there are complications, that my chances aren't good." "Mr. Harrison, I can't lie to your wife about your medical condition. I'm not asking you to lie. I'm asking you to tell her you need to run more tests, that you're concerned, that it's too early to be optimistic, all of which is medically defensible, right?" He looked uncomfortable. "Technically, yes. But why?" "Because I discovered last night that my wife has been having an affair and waiting for me to die so she could be with her boyfriend and collect my life insurance. I need time to protect myself legally before she knows I'm going to survive." His expression shifted from confusion to shock. "You're serious?" "Completely. I have evidence. Text messages. I just need a few days to get my affairs in order." He was quiet for a moment. "I can't ethically deceive a family member, but I can be cautiously pessimistic until we have more data. Would that work?" "Perfect." We went back into the room. Dr. Patterson's demeanor had changed. "Mrs. Harrison, I need to be honest with you. While Michael is conscious and stable, we're seeing some concerning indicators in his latest tests. His heart isn't responding to treatment as well as we'd hoped." Diane's face fell. What does that mean? It means we need to run more tests. Monitor him closely. His recovery is going to be longer and more complicated than we initially thought. But he'll be okay, right? It's too early to say. The next few weeks are critical. I'll know more after we run additional tests. Diane looked at me with concern. Real or performed, I couldn't tell anymore. I'm going to be fine, I said. Don't worry. After Dr. Patterson left, Diane sat down and pulled out her phone. Started typing. I watched her. Wondered if she was texting James, telling him the news. That afternoon, when Diane went to get coffee, I called my attorney, Gordon Matthews. Gordon, I need you to come to the hospital immediately and bring my prenup. Michael, I heard about your heart attack. Are you okay? I'm fine, but I need you here now. It's urgent. He arrived an hour later. I sent Diane to get lunch so we could talk privately. What's going on? Gordon asked. I showed him the screenshots. Every message. The affair, the life insurance talk, the helping it along comments. His face got harder with each message. Michael, this is serious. These messages suggest she may have contributed to your heart attack. I know. That's why I need to understand my prenup. What happens if we divorce? He pulled out his briefcase, retrieved a thick document. You insisted on an ironclad prenup before the marriage. Diane gets nothing except what she brought into the marriage, which was minimal. The house is yours, bought before the marriage. The business is yours. The investments are yours. She get her personal belongings and her car. What about infidelity? There's a clause. If either party commits adultery, they forfeit any right to marital assets beyond their personal property. You included it specifically. Did she read this before signing? She was supposed to. I advised her to have her own attorney review it. She declined, said she trusted you and wanted to just sign it. So she never actually read it. Probably not. Most people don't read prenups carefully. They sign them because they're in love and don't think they'll ever divorce. And if she thinks I'm dying, if you die, the prenup is irrelevant. She's your spouse, so she'd be your primary heir unless your will says otherwise. And my will. You left everything to her. That was your choice at the time. I need to change it. Today. Michael, you're in a hospital bed. You just had major surgery. Which is exactly why I need to do this now. If something happens to me, I want everything to go to my sister and her kids. Not to Diane. Gordon nodded. I could draft a new will right now. You'll need witnesses for the signature. We spent the next hour revising my will. 2 nurses agreed to witness. By the time Diane came back from lunch, my new will was signed and Gordon was leaving with the original. Who was that? Diane asked. My attorney. Wanted to check on me. And we discussed some business matters. Should you be working? You just had a heart attack. Just tying up loose ends. In case something happens. Her expression flickered. Something that might have been hope. Over the next 3 days, I played the part of a man, recovering slowly. Complained of chest pain. Looked tired. Let the doctors run their tests. Dr. Patterson played along. Maintained a professionally concerned demeanor around Diane. The test results are concerning, he'd say. We're monitoring closely. I watched Diane's reactions. She looked worried when people were watching. But when she thought I was asleep, she'd text rapidly on her phone, smiling. On my 10th day in the hospital, I asked to see Dr. Patterson alone again. I think I'm ready to go home. But I need you to tell my wife that I need to stay another week for observation. That you're still concerned. For what purpose? I'm filing for divorce. My attorney is serving her the papers tomorrow. I want her to get served while I'm still here, so I'm safe if she reacts badly. He nodded. I can justify keeping you for observation. And honestly, given what you've told me, having security nearby when she gets served isn't a bad idea. The next day, Diane showed up at her usual time, 11 a.m., with lunch from my favorite deli. How are you feeling today? She asked. Tired, but okay. She sat down, pulled out her phone, started texting. At 11:30, there was a knock on the door. A process server stepped in. Diane Harrison. She looked up. Yes. You've been served. He handed her an envelope and left. Diane stared at the envelope. What is this? Open it. She did. Pulled out the divorce papers. Read the first page. Looked at me in shock. You're divorcing me? While you're in the hospital? I'm divorcing you because you've been having an affair with James and waiting for me to die, so you can collect my life insurance. All color drained from her face. That's not. Who told you that? You did. I read your text messages. Every single one. The affair, the life insurance plans, the helping it along comments about my stress levels. You went through my phone. You left it unlocked next to my bed while I was recovering from a heart attack you may have contributed to. Yes, I went through it. I never. Those messages are out of context. Once he's gone, we'll have everything is out of context. The life insurance alone is 2 million foot is out of context. She stood up. You have no right to. I have every right. You're my wife. Well, my wife. Now you're being served with divorce papers. And you're going to lose everything. I'll fight this. I'll get a lawyer. I deserve half of everything we built together. Read the prenup, Diane. The one you signed without reading. The one that says if either of us commits adultery, we get nothing. She froze. What prenup? The one my attorney had you sign before we got married. You said you trusted me and didn't need your own lawyer to review it. Remember? She sat down hard. There's a prenup? Did you really sign a legal document without reading it? You said it was just a formality. You said it didn't matter because we'd be together forever. And then you had an affair and started planning my death. So it matters now. She started crying. Michael, please. Let me explain. James means nothing. It was just, I was lonely. You work all the time. So you cheated and waited for me to die. That's your excuse. I never wanted you to die. Those messages were just, we were fantasizing. We weren't serious. You discussed helping my heart attack along. That sounds pretty serious. I never did anything. I took care of you. I was here every day. You were here making sure I died so you could inherit everything. Unfortunately for you, I survived. And now you get nothing. She looked at the divorce papers again. I'll contest the prenup. I'll say I signed under duress. You signed it 6 weeks before our wedding. With your parents present. With my attorney advising you to get your own lawyer. There was no duress. Then I'll tell everyone what you're doing. Divorcing your wife while you're sick. Go ahead. I'll show them the text messages where you planned to inherit my life insurance. She stared at me. You wouldn't. Watch me. She grabbed her purse and left. Slammed the door behind her. I lay back in a hospital bed and took a deep breath. My heart was racing, but it felt good. Dr. Patterson came in 5 minutes later. I heard raised voices. Are you okay? I'm fine. Better than fine. When can I actually go home? Tomorrow, if you want. Your recovery is progressing well. The pessimistic prognosis was just for her benefit. Then discharge me tomorrow. I want to go home. The next day, I was discharged. My sister Karen picked me up. I can't believe Diane, she said on the drive home. I never liked her, but I never thought she'd do something like this. She thought she'd be a wealthy widow. Instead, she's an ex-wife with nothing. Where is she now? Hotel, I assume. She can't come to the house. I had the locks changed yesterday. Good. She doesn't deserve a penny. When we got to the house, there was a car in the driveway. Diane's car. She was sitting on the porch steps. Stood up when she saw us. Michael, please. We need to talk. We have nothing to talk about. You need to leave. This is my home. No, it's my home. I bought it before we married. The prenup confirms it's my separate property. You need to leave. I have nowhere to go. That's not my problem. Call James. I'm sure he'll help you. James doesn't want anything to do with me now. He said I'm toxic. Imagine that. Your affair partner wants nothing to do with you when there's no money involved. What a surprise. She started crying again. Please, Michael. I'm sorry. I made a terrible mistake. Can't we work this out? No. You didn't make a mistake. You had an affair for months. You discussed my life insurance. You talked about helping my heart attack along. Those aren't mistakes. Those are choices. I never did anything to hurt you. You stressed me out while I had an undiagnosed heart condition. You forgot to remind me to take my blood pressure medication. You encouraged me to work longer hours. You did plenty. You can't prove any of that. I don't need to. The prenup proves you get nothing in the divorce. That's enough. Karen stepped forward. Diane, you need to leave. Now, or we're calling the police. Diane looked at me one more time. I hope you're happy. You've ruined my life. I survived. You planned for me to die. I'm very happy about how this turned out. She got her car and drove away. Over the next 3 months, the divorce moved forward. Diane hired an attorney who tried everything to break the prenup. Claimed she signed under duress. Judge reviewed the evidence. Found no duress. Claimed she contributed to my business success. Judge reviewed the timeline. Found the business was established and successful before we married. Claimed she deserved compensation for emotional support. Judge pointed to the text messages about waiting for me to die. Every argument failed. The divorce was finalized. Diane got her car, her personal belongings, and nothing else. She moved in with her parents. Got a job as an administrative assistant. Made about $40,000 a year. James had apparently moved on to someone else. Someone with money, according to mutual friends. 6 months after my heart attack, I was fully recovered. Back to work, exercising carefully, taking my medications, living a healthier life. I'd lost weight, reduced stress, and felt better than I had in years. Almost dying had given me clarity about what mattered. A year after the divorce, I met someone. Her name was Linda. She was a teacher, kind and genuine, with no interest in my money. I have to tell you something, I said on our third date. I'm wealthy. I own a successful business. I have investments. And I'm going to be very careful about protecting all of that. That's smart. What happened? I told her the whole story. The heart attack, the messages, the prenup, everything. Your ex-wife waited for you to die. Yes. That's horrible. I'm so glad you survived. Me too. But it taught me to be careful. To protect myself. To not assume love means honesty. I understand. And for what it's worth, I have my own money. I'm not interested in yours. Even so, if we ever get serious, there will be a prenup. Good. I'd insist on one anyway. We took it slow. She met my sister, my friends, my doctors. I met her family. A year later, we got married. With a prenup that we both read carefully. 2 years after my heart attack, I ran into Diane at a restaurant. She was there with an older man, clearly on a date. She saw me and looked away quickly. I didn't approach her, just nodded politely and went to my own table where Linda was waiting. Was that her? Linda asked. Yeah. She looks miserable. She's probably still trying to find someone to support her. That was her whole plan with me. Well, she lost. And we won. We did. 5 years after my heart attack, I was healthier than ever. My business had grown. Linda and I bought a house together. We were talking about kids. I never thought about Diane, except when someone brought her up. And even then, only briefly. She thought she was waiting for a wealthy widow's life. Instead, she'd gotten divorced with nothing. I thought I was dying. Instead, I gotten a second chance at life and a real partner. The prenup she never read had saved me from losing everything to someone who'd waited for me to die. The heart attack she'd hoped would kill me had given me the clarity to see who she really was. And the recovery she'd prayed wouldn't happen had led me to a life better than anything I'd had before. 10 years after my heart attack, I was 60 years old, healthy, and happy. Linda and I had 2 kids. My business was thriving. My sister's kids were doing well with the trust funds I'd set up for them. I thought about that night in the hospital sometimes, reading those messages, realizing my wife wanted me dead. It should have destroyed me. Instead, it had saved me. Because if I hadn't seen those messages, I would have recovered, gone home, and never known. Would have stayed married to someone waiting for my next heart attack. Would have worked myself into an early grave, thinking I was providing for a loving wife. Would have died eventually, and she would have gotten everything. But I had seen the messages, had protected myself, had survived, and had built something real with someone who loved me, alive more than dead. That was the real victory. Not the prenup, not the divorce, not even the fact that Diane lost everything. The real victory was getting a second chance. At life, at love, at building something that mattered. The prenup she never read had protected my assets, but surviving when she expected me to die, that had protected my future. And it was a future worth living. Every single day.